Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out and being here with us on this Monday night for Variant Roles Presents Renegade Game Studios Overlight. My name's Eugenio. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm very excited to be your GM for this exciting culmination of quite the cliffhanger after last week. But before we tell you all about that, let's go around and introduce the players. Let us know who you are and who you're going to be playing this evening, and we will start tonight with Nat.
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm Nat Rose. You can find me on Twitter at Nat Rose with a Z. My pronouns are they, them, or he, him, and I am playing Conra, who is probably about to have an anxiety attack.
Thanks for the host. Also, I forgot to change those images over to the not terrifying Avernus ones. So while Victoria introduces herself, I'm going to go do that.
Hi, I'm Victoria, and I am playing Nodi. She is a Benyari Versad Leafkin. She, her pronoun.
Fantastic. And moving over to Alicia.
Hey, I'm Alicia Energy 9. I play Siggy, our Pyroid Tundra Runner, who's ready to accurate fire into the Warden's face.
That's
yeah.
right. You are so close to that moment that I know you have been waiting for 5 weeks
May
now.
the dice be in my favor.
That's right. That's right. Well, you took the aim action, which will help a little.
That will help. I know my luck.
Yeah, fair game. Fair game. Last but most certainly not least, Diana.
Hola, as I go by Diana Moon online, I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing Yarida, who is an Artemel of Vale, who uses she, they, and is trying not to fall off the planks.
Yes.
And is luckily hooked in because they're a deckhand, so they learned better.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly right. And thank goodness, because
I forgot. Continue.
Perfect. Okay, and now the next time someone does something like follows us or hosts us, hopefully it won't be that terrifying eye from hell. Excellent. So, we are sort of towards getting close to the... Oh, thank goodness it worked. Hey, thanks, Producer Pat. Producer Pat. Oh, hey, Pat. What's up?
Hi.
Thanks for following the channel. It's nice to have you here. Cool. So we are getting close to the climax of this adventure, but we should probably let people know what we've been up to these past 5 weeks. So who wants to give us a little review? And I wouldn't be opposed to starting from the very beginning, but we'll do it briefly. I can kick us off if we want. Let me kick us off, and then you all can pick up the thread as we go. So when we began, our 4 Skyborn adventurers found themselves, for various reasons, on the Shard of Hark, the great city and the home of the Harkeen, or those beings that we... Sorry, I got distracted because Pat's being nice. Where the Harkeen race lives, and they are the folk that we mostly recognize as humans. So they all came to Hark for various reasons, found each other by chance, by serendipity, who's to say, and met another older Skyborn individual named Faradon Lux, a well-traveled, somewhat mischievous, but ultimately very kind-hearted and pure-hearted man who asked them for their help. His mentor, a Banyari by the name of Hawk. The Shatu is her title. So Shatu Hawk had come to Hark to meet with Faradon, but was captured at some point and sent somewhere. Faradon wasn't entirely sure. So the party was tasked with finding out where Shatu Hawk had been taken, why, and ultimately getting her back. All right, what fun details should we include about the first 3 weeks before we get into last week's wrap-up? Anything?
Oh boy.
These two know how to make gruesome masks.
Yes,
Yeah, we
had
went to
a fun
masquerade.
You all went to a masquerade, had a little arts and crafts session before. Used all the. You were very good. You used all the parts of the street rodents that you were able to find and catch. Nothing went to waste.
I was gonna say we were very creative with our material use.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yeah, so you went to this masquerade of sort of hedonistic delights, where the host, Matrix Invico, brought artisans to come and show them their display and their version of their masterpieces of beauty, but beauty to the Matrix was something rather twisted and horrible. You were there because you needed a key to the hanging prison, a most diabolical prison located underneath the Shard of Hark, where those who are meant to be forgotten are sent to hang precariously above the open drop down into the Sea of Stars, some distance below. And that's what you did last week.
That was the week before last.
That's what you did the week before last. Because last week... Last
week we spent a very long time walking through the ground of the continent, the Shard of Hark, down into this prison.
Yeah.
Via the back door.
A very long, almost week-long march down those stairs, but you did manage to get in, and found there the true horror that is the hanging prison.
It's awful.
It's dreadful.
It's pretty awful, and parts of it are even worse than just the basic idea suggests. As you got deeper into the prison, you saw places where prisoners were being hung upside down by their ankles with nothing but open sky and ultimately the Shard of Veil below. So pretty
medieval.
It's very medieval with an infinite abyss to drop you into. Fun times.
Yeah.
On the upside, you freed a prisoner.
Yeah, we did.
Possibly we should have asked that one before we freed them why they were there.
Which you did do later. You asked another
a different one.
You did.
See,
yeah, it turns out the answer was murder.
Running on compassion and needing to do something, then ignore all these prisoners. And so
absolutely
understandable.
valid.
Your decision to make a terrible decision.
Exactly. And at least that one can fly, so that we didn't have to worry about them dragging us down.
Right. They were able to just escape immediately to wherever they wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of all of that...
come back to bite us later.
No, of course not. It's not scribbled all over my notebook for this campaign. So after all of that, however, you did manage to find Shatu Hak, locked up in a cage at the far end of the prison, all on her own. At the far end of a single precariously balanced plank of wood leading out to her cage. You found her, and Kanra and Nodi went to begin to release her from her bindings and from the cage that held her when Yaira and Siggy noticed 3 prison guards, one of whom seems to be some sort of warden of some description, coming towards your location, and obviously not super pleased. Here goes the spaceship. Not super pleased about the fact that you were coming to free one of his prisoners. And that's sort of where we left off. Kanra and Nodi were both on top of the cage where Shatu Hak was. Siggy and Yaida were engaging the guards, Siggy by lining up her crossbow and getting ready to set off a good solid shot at the warden, while Yaida engaged the other 2, nearly getting knocked off the platforms, but fortunately, being a deckhand, she knew to secure herself to the precarious walkways where she found herself. So she will have to spend some time this round getting her balance back, but she is okay for the moment. Anything else?
Also wonderful meditation.
There was also what?
Wonderful meditation.
Oh, yeah.
Or brilliant meditation.
Yes.
I forget the level it was.
That's right. Nodi got some very directly useful information about the prison and how to arrive at Shatu Hak's cage, which is good because it kept you all from running into prison guards way sooner than you did. And also some more sort of cosmic information that, well, I don't know what you all made of it, but anyway. She got some information about blips of colors of the Overlight on various shards.
We're all gonna be friends and we're gonna fly away into the sunset.
I mean, look, I think that's a great plan. Let's just...
the Overlight.
Oh, right. The Overlight set.
As long as Siggy can be bored, this is possible.
It doesn't set.
Perfect. I love it. I think that pretty much does it. Should we jump back into this combat? This is where I would insert the dramatic music in my podcast, but I can't do that here. All right. So You all have the initiative, and as you recall in Overlight, initiatives is by side, so you all can decide in what order you take your turns, but all of you will have a turn before any of the 3 guards have their next turn.
Okay. I think Siggy's definitely going to go ahead and take her shot. That warden who's like right there.
Yes, the warden is quite near you.
Yeah, so it'll go in really deep. It's fine.
One hopes. So last round you used your action, used your turn to do the aim maneuver.
Correct.
And remind us what that does.
So aim, as a reminder, if you plan to attempt a precise shot or accurate fire maneuver, you may decide to perform an aim maneuver to prepare. To aim, forego your attack and perform a resolve test. If you succeed, you gain the number of fury points equal to the result of the spirit die. In effect, aiming creates a victory. I shoot better. There we go.
Right, you shoot better. And you made that resolve test, correct?
Yes, I did.
Great. So Siggy was there. She lined up her shot. She let the fury of the fires of Pyroi stoke her battle spirit. And now, on her turn again, you are going to perform an accurate fire maneuver, which will cost you 2 spirit points. But what did you roll for that? How many fury points did you get from that aim maneuver?
I got 3 fury points.
Great. So you can spend 2 of those and still have 1 left. So you're using this accurate fire. You make your attack roll as normal, which for a ranged weapon is going to be a logic wind lore test.
Okay, can that be vigor wind lore instead?
No,
it's fine.
No. I'm usually happy to let you all mix and match, but
I mean, it's might. I'm showing him the might of my crossbow. Are you sure it's not might, Windlore?
Well,
the wind is mighty. It's mighty on my side. I'm mighty mad at him.
You are mighty mad at him.
Might.
I like all of these things, but you're still gonna have to do a logic Windlore.
I have to try.
No, I appreciate it. I really do.
All right, logic Windlore. And
make sure you include your spirit die for this roll. So what is your pool for this roll?
So that is going to be 6 d6s and then the spirit die.
Okay, fantastic. And we remember that when we are making attacks, we're not looking for pairs of successes like we are on skill tests. Instead, any number that's a 6 or better counts as a point of damage against the enemy. How'd that roll go?
Okay, so anyone that's 6 or better?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 3 hits.
Whoa, 3 hits. And what did you roll on your spirit die?
I only rolled a 1 on the spirit die.
Okay, but that 1 converts into 1 additional damage because your accurate fire maneuver automatically converts your spirit die result into damage. So, describe this attack for us, Siggy, while I find my hit point tracker for this guy.
All right. So, I imagine, as the warden was, running up, and if I remember correctly, grinning, ha, I got this. Mm-hmm. And Siggy, taking the logical, taking the initial, I'm going to ready it up and, kind of soften you up first, because much as she likes to fight, she's also not dumb. So it's just that perfect thing, and just perfectly wait for it. And I don't know, maybe in the shoulder.
Absolutely, just right in his shoulder, and it takes him in the shoulder, and he sort of spins a little bit to the side. But with those heavy iron boots, he's in no immediate danger of being thrown off. But you can see him grimace, and it's his hammer arm. If you remember, he's carrying this great, big, enormous 2-handed hammer, and he sort of sets the head of the hammer down, reaches up with his left hand, pulls the crossbow bolt out and tosses it over the edge, and sort of clearly he's not laughing anymore. We will definitely say that.
Yeah, no, I imagine after that, Siggy kind of does the same smile she did to her and puts her crossbow away, ready to pull out the melee weapon.
Yes, very good. I love it. All right, who wants to go next?
Well, I gotta take my action doing full defense, so...
Yes, so you can go ahead and take the full defense action, which
is going to help... Spirit point.
Yes, it uses a spirit point. It is also, however, going to, in addition to stabilizing you so that you don't go flying into the abyss, it's also going to make sure that it's going to allow you to hopefully deflect some damage should the two guards that are near you try and attack you in their turn, which undoubtedly they will.
You mean they're just not going to run away? I mean, that would be the smart thing to do.
Wouldn't it, though? Clearly they didn't see what Siggy just did to their warden.
Clearly.
All right, so we will address that when the time comes, but you can go ahead and spend that spirit point. Nodi and Conra?
I believe I'm in the middle of picking this lock, right?
I believe
And I
you
need to
are
keep
as
doing
well.
the same check to
Yes.
continue doing it.
And as I recall, I had you performing logic machinery tests.
I believe so.
Okay.
Which is a 3d12 and a 3d8 and a spirit. That's a d10. I'm not rolling d10s for
That's
this.
all right. So Conra is working on undoing the lock there at the top, and while he works on his dice pool, Nodi, last round, as I recall, Nodi was rather upset at this turn of events.
She was definitely concerned.
Yes.
It was like, oh, we're doing this now. Okay. So where is everyone in relation to the cage? How far away is everyone?
Siggy is definitely the next closest. She's sort of just on the far side of that plank that leads out to the cage.
Okay.
Yaida's a little further down the walkway and then up one, I don't want to say one level because there aren't really levels, but she's up on a slightly higher platform that she clambered up onto.
Okay. Do we want to resolve the lockpicking?
Yeah, let's go ahead and see how that went. How'd that go, Conra?
That's 4 successes and a 4 on the spirit die.
Whoa! Okay, so I'm counting successes rather than
Right, yes.
doing pairs and stuff to get this lock undone. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What do I do with this
So
spirit die for in
this 4 on that, you can either get an additional success, or you can, as normal with skill checks, apply it to your spirit pool and add 1 to your spirit pool, since this is clearly Conra's thing and he is living his best life.
Yeah. I'm gonna add that to my spirit pool.
Yeah, you're doing pretty well. You keep rolling like that, and it won't be too much longer before you manage to get it undone.
No, Conra's just like whipped out like a whole open the jacket, and there's just like screwdrivers and like lockpicks and all sorts of weird stuff in there, and he's like taking the cage apart.
He is Nodi, you can
Tom,
see.
we're gonna sell us a watch at a good price. Is that what's gonna happen?
No, but he'll take yours apart.
There you go.
And
All right,
then sell you back the pieces.
So Nodi, you see Conra living his absolute best life.
And I have no idea what he's doing.
Not even a little bit.
This is
Machines.
I don't know. The only reason I'm up here is because I could climb up here, really. So what I would like to do is intimidate our foe.
Oh, I love
who is
that.
right at the end of the plank.
Yes, absolutely.
That's 3 spirit points that I have to use.
Yes.
But I'm going to stand up to my full 2 feet 7 inches.
Baby.
And put my shoulders back, put my hands on my hips, and then just glower down at the warden. This is a revered member of Benyari society. By doing this to her, you are insulting and maybe inciting a war with the Benyari people. Do you want that on your head?
I mean, I don't, but let's see if he does. Okay, so I love this. So to intimidate your foe, we see Nodi just puff herself up in a way that none of you have ever seen. So you will make a persuasion test, and I will, which is an open test, so I'm making a mental check against that, and we're looking for just the highest result in your pool of dice. Oh dear. Okay.
Sorry, I have to get all the D8s.
Oh, well.
I never use D8s.
D8s I use more
it's
than
a
these.
D8 for both of them. You
Oh.
said will and so it's 3 will and 3 persuasion?
That is correct. So that's going to be 6d8 that you're rolling, plus your spirit die, as always.
Okay, no, I lied. Sorry. It'll be 3d8 and 3d6.
Well, still. Just looking for the highest result. And my highest result was a 4.
Okay. Well, on my D8s. Okay, so my highest results are an 8 and a 6.
Good grief. All right, so the 8 will do it. What'd you get in your spirit die?
Oh, I do have to roll that.
Yes. Not
Okay,
although it actually
so that I
doesn't
two.
matter here, but okay, fine. All right, so the warden is so surprised that this tiny little Banyari is just so vehemently and sort of directly challenging him that he sort of stumbles a step in his iron boots, and he will be unable to use his spirit die for any purpose on this next round, which is good because that means that he can't stomp on the platform and try and knock Siggy off like his friends did to Yaira. So that keeps him from surging. Well and terrifyingly done, Nodi. And we pass over to the guards. So the 2 guards that are up at the top deck area with Yaida are going to attempt to take advantage of what they perceive as her in troubled state to do some attacks against her again. However, you've done full defense, so if you're targeted by a melee attack, perform a skill test using whatever you're currently armed with, which I believe we said last week were some blades, yeah?
Yeah, I have a cargo hook and a short sword.
Fantastic.
The cargo hook is being currently used to keep me.
Yeah, we'll stick to the short sword just in case. All right, so you're going to perform a vigor blades test.
Okay.
If you succeed,
Okay.
you negate a number of damage equal to the result of your spirit die.
Nice. All right, so that's full D8s.
Meanwhile, I will start rolling up their attacks as they come in. They both have these. Let's see. Did we say what they had last time? No, I don't. Oh, yeah. One of them has a long pole with a wicked hook at the end, and the other one has an iron cudgel. So the one with the wicked pole is going to come up to you and attempt to attack you. And you let me know when you've done your Vigor Blades
So I
test.
forget, is it number of successes or just the highest number at this point?
For this one, I need... So how many successes? Yeah.
I got 2 successes.
2
And a 2 on the
successes.
spirit die.
Okay, so you will be able to negate 2 damage that comes at you from this first attack. And he does exactly 2 damage. So you're able to parry the long hook away as he comes in swinging and sort of surprise him, and he's unable to do any damage. The other one, however, comes in right behind him to swing and does manage to do 1 damage to you, but that is all because you clearly were less incapacitated than he imagined as he comes in swinging kind of wildly.
This ain't my first brawl. I know what I'm doing.
Clearly.
Smash Bros.
Now, that doesn't take you to that first red box in your health track, does it?
No, I only have 2 marks.
Okay,
so
great.
far.
I couldn't remember how much you'd taken last week, so great. Just making sure. All right. We then zoom on over to the warden, squaring off against Siggy, seeing Nodi a little ways behind Siggy, sort of shakes off, but clearly you can see that he's a little unnerved by all of this, but he hefts his enormous... There we go, get rid of that. Hefts his enormous hammer and swings it in Siggy's direction.
Come at me, bro.
Let's see. That is going
That
to
sounded like a lot of
be...
dice.
That's going to be 2 points of damage as he swings and knocks you right in the same shoulder that you hit him in with your crossbow. He clearly deliberately aims right for that shoulder,
Gotcha.
but you hold your ground against the weight of this thing.
I'm
And
trying to remember, do we do the X's down or up?
you go from the top down on your track.
Top down.
Yep.
Okay, making sure.
Yep. And as he swings it and sort of sends you stumbling just slightly, he sort of growls quietly in your direction, Siggy. I haven't thrown anyone off of here in some time. I'll enjoy this. And that brings us back around to our Skyborn heroes. Who is up?
All right, we'll do me.
All right.
Like we were kind of just responding to like I haven't, his like I haven't done this quite some time. Just like, so you enjoy losing? That is an odd last time, but who am I to judge? Let me come to it.
I love it.
And this time she's gonna go in with the blade. Having sheathed the crossbow now, she's going in melee.
She's going melee. Great. And what weapon does Siggy have? Is it a bludgeoning weapon or a bladed weapon?
I believe
does actually change your roll.
It does. I think considering how tough the tusks are, she'd probably have a bladed weapon.
Makes sense to me.
Because she'd have to work on bleeding it as opposed to trying to break.
Absolutely. Yeah, the shovel tusks are big beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. So in that case, you're going to make a Vigor Blades test. The rest of you, if you know what you're doing and know what roll it's going to require, you can go ahead and do those rolls. And as I'm
continuing what I'm doing.
Fantastic. If not, that's also totally fine. We can have a conversation about it when we get to you. So Alicia, Siggy, that's going to be Vigor Blades, plus, of course, your Spirit die as you unsheath. What kind of blade have you got?
I imagine she kind of has. She has a blade where the handle looks oddly more like reptilian. Like normally you see like a lot of everything, but hers is very much wrapped in like some sort of reptilian armor, and there's some etching marked into it, which if you're not player, you'd have no idea what the heck it means.
Cool. And I imagine, since you mentioned bleeding the shovel tusks, I imagine it's sort of whatever type of blade it is, it narrows to a pretty fine, pokey, piercing point at the end.
Absolutely.
So just a wicked little glint off the very point of the blade as it hits the reflected overlight from below.
Okay, and we are still looking for just successes, right?
Yes, 6s or better. Each 6 or better is a point of damage against this dude.
Okay, this time that's only 1.
All right. So you swing that blade, and he manages to get his hammer up in time to deflect most of the blow, but you do score a little bit of a tear across his forearm, and he sort of pulls his hammer back and hisses in pain.
I imagine she probably like actually aimed it at his ankle, since he talked about knocking off. It's just gonna like, let us dance, dear Warden.
He is not underestimating you anymore, but he sort of smiles at that. Let's see. Conra, you're continuing on with the lock. Let us know how that next one went.
3 more successes.
3 more successes. 1, 2, 3.
You were well under pressure.
So you, at this point, you basically have managed to, if you look at the image we've got on the screen there, you can see that Shatu Hawk has, looks like a couple of manacles on each arm and one around the collar. And as I mentioned last week, all of those chains sort of meet at the top of her cage. So you've undone all of those chains. So she is free within the cage, but now the only thing you have left to do is to undo the final bit of the lock that will spring her from the cage itself.
Fantastic. Before I start doing that, I want to try and analyze it and make sure that it's not gonna like open on the bottom and just drop her into space.
It's an excellent thing to look for, but it looks like the top of this, like there's a little hatch underneath where that locking mechanism was. That looks like it's what opens. It's not little. It's big enough to fit through a person to fit through. So it's not little.
Yes.
You get what I mean. Excellent. Yaida, Nodi?
I lost the page. I was double checking the skill stuff. So what I was trying to figure out how to do.
Yeah, tell me.
Is use outmaneuver but somehow using wind lore to roll.
Okay.
To be able to because it's windy out here. It's
sure.
Technically these planks aren't very stable. So I'm trying to push one of them off, but using the force of like some gust of wind that's coming through.
Got
I'm
it.
trying to avoid using athletics.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So it's more about maneuvering them into the right place where a gust of wind will shove them over. Great. Okay. So you can use the outmaneuver combat whatever it's called. I'm blanking on the name, but
Yeah.
combat maneuver.
That
there you go.
costs 2 spirit points.
It does, and I think what you want to then, if we're looking at trying to use the gusts of wind and such, I think what you want to do is a logic wind lore test.
Okay. So that's D6 and D8.
Decide upon the required test. And you'll do that versus their... So it's going to be an open test versus their mental, because they need to not realize what it is that you're up to here. Since they have spent a fair bit of time up here as well, there's a chance that they'll cotton on to what's happening here. Mental dice. Okay. So that's the first thing you're going to do is a logic wind lore test with your spirit die.
Okay.
And we're looking, it is an open test, so we're looking for your highest result.
8.
Oh, that's good, because I rolled a 6 and a 4 on the spirit die, which means I got a 7, but not good enough to beat you. All right, so basically what this means is that you're then going to, spend the rest of this turn sort of trying to get them into position so that at least one of them can fall off. And in future tests, you can continue to attack or anything like that. But if you roll a 4 on your spirit die, rather than the normal results of a 4, instead, the 4 on the spirit die means that you succeed in getting one of them to get blown off of the of the planking here.
Nice.
That is our dramatic and stated outcome of the 4.
And I'm not saying anything. I'm just like focused and just I'm hoping everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Nodi.
You're muted.
Oh, I wasn't even looking.
Right.
There you go.
So for this next thing here, I have a question. Are there extra chains or anything hanging around?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's sort of abandoned cages and chains and manacles and stuff all over the place. Yeah, totally.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do then is I am going to jump up onto, like, one hand grab one of the chains.
Yes.
And have my staff ready in my other hand. And I'm going to swing down towards the one attacking Siggy.
Yes.
And as I'm doing that, I'm going to be shouting because I'm rallying my comrades.
Yes. Use those combat maneuvers. I love it.
Yes.
And be like, we got this. We will rescue Shatuhak.
Yes.
And then I want to like bash him over the head, like wrap him on the head with my
absolutely stick. Absolutely. So this is in conjunction with your normal attacks. So
yes.
you're going to be doing 2 tests. You're going to be doing an inspiration test, and then with your staff you're doing a might brawl test, since that's bludgeoning
which
weapons.
I'm not good at.
That's okay. It's really about the inspiration.
Yeah, it is. Okay,
All right.
So the inspiration test. How does one do this? So I'm choosing, I guess I have to choose one ally.
Yes. Yes.
I am choosing... Has anyone taken damage?
Yaida, I believe... Oh, Yaida and Siggy both have taken damage.
Yes,
and I think the same amount of damage.
Okay.
Possibly.
How are you? Do you look hurt visibly?
Maybe mildly.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Siggy probably looks mostly okay.
Yeah, Super looks okay. It would be more obvious than Yaida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was probably banged up, and then like they had swords, right? Or what did they?
One of them has that hook, and the other one has a hammer or a maul or cudgel or something.
So yeah, so if I I probably have a couple of nicks and bruises.
Okay, so I'll send it off to you. That inspiration.
Okay,
We
so
got
you're
this!
gonna do a compassion inspiration test,
Compassion and inspiration.
and your spirit die. And then, well, depending on the level of success, you might actually be able to inspire more than a single ally, but we won't get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, I have 2 6s and an 8, and I rolled a 3 on my spirit die.
Okay, so that is a luminous success, and you rolled a 3 on your spirit die?
Yes.
Okay, so Yaira, you gain 3 fury points for your fury pool as you hear Nodi deciding that it is a worthy cause and it is time to enter the fray, and you see her swinging into combat with her staff. Have you released the wind chimes? Is your staff a jingling?
Oh, yeah, you know, at
Yeah.
this point, totally.
Yes. I love it.
They're out.
All right, so down that goes now. Nodi, speaking of mechanics and such, you got 3 successes. 4 successes is a radiant success, and you could choose a second ally to give those fury points to if you wanted to spend a spirit point to have a spirit flare and knock that up to the next level of success.
I don't have any left.
Oh no! Well, all right. Didn't mean to rub that in, but there's a nice review of mechanics for everybody. All right, so Yaida, you see Nodi come swinging in and just feel that adrenaline surge as your friend floats on in. All right, that was everyone on the Skyborn side, yes?
I think just the idea of such a small, cute thing, like, just like, you know, it was like, wow, that's so cool. Yeah, like,
yeah, let's do it. I love it. Yes, Nodi, you absolutely do still have to do your attack with your staff.
Yeah. So I have 1 6, and then like a 4 and a 3.
All right, so hey, that's 1 point of damage that you managed to inflict with your staff, bonking this warden on the head. Absolutely, I love that.
And then I like swing over, and then I swing back.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. It is the guard's turn. We'll start up again with the 2 that are by Yaida. They seem rather confused about what's going on with this swinging Banyari. They're a little annoyed that they didn't get to shove you off of this platform last round, but they're making the best of it. So the first one with the hook is going to once again try and yank you off balance. That is 1 damage from that one as it just sort of grazes you, but you're able to twist mostly out of the way of it. And the other one with the maul misses you completely because he's keeping a close eye on the Banyari because he's not sure what she's planning, but he saw that she got a good smack in on his warden's head with that staff, so he was a little distracted by that. The warden sort of looks around, and once again Siggy sort of growls in your direction. You're not bad, but we're much better. And he is going to... Where's that other D8? He is going to swing his maul at you. That is going to be 1 point of damage. And I need you... He stomps. He's seeing how well it worked with Yaida. He stomps on the platform underneath him and rattles the cages. So I need you to perform an athletics or a brawl test. So that's vigor athletics or might brawl, whichever is better for you.
Vigor athletics, absolutely.
All right. So you're going to perform that. I'm going to perform a physical check, and we're looking for the highest result on your dice.
My highest result is an 8.
And mine is... You all keep beating me by 1. Mine's a 7. All right. So you are... the platform rattles underneath you, but you're able to keep your balance and not go teetering off one edge. But he does still get that point of damage in on you as he hefts that maul and swings it once again at your already somewhat weakened shoulder. All right, it is the 4 of your turns again.
So I just need to attack and hope to get a spirit roll of 4, right?
Yes, that'll for that. Yes, absolutely, for your maneuver.
Okay, So yeah, so I'll just attack with my blade.
Okay, great. Siggy, I assume you're still going toe-to-toe with the warden, so you can make your blades test as well. Conra, I assume you're going for the lock.
Yeah,
to finish that off, you can do your machinery test.
Basically the end of it. I'm just going to try and, like, if I can't do it the regular way of picking a lock, I'm going to try and wrench it open.
And it's vigor blades, right?
It is Vigor Blades, yes.
Okay. 3 successes.
Okay, I will resolve that in a moment. Siggy, how'd yours go?
I get. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry,
There
4.
was something I didn't mean to do before. Like I meant to do the mighty blow because I know I did the accurate fire. I want to do mighty blow.
Okay,
Can
yeah.
I still spend those spirit points?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay. All right. So in that case, my spirit die actually matters. So I'll mark those off.
So much like with her accurate fire earlier, she really winds up and gets a ton of power behind this blow. Who has a roll for me?
I got 2 successes.
2 successes. So Yaida, tell us about those 2 points of damage that you inflict on one of your guards.
So I think it's the one that that actually managed to hit me last, and I'm just gonna do what's on Victoria's shirt and pick it with the pointy end.
Yes. Absolutely. So you leap forward, stabbing in, getting a good shot to this enemy, who cries out and grasps at the railing there on his platform so as not to go tumbling over. How about you, Siggy? We come back down to you and the warden.
Siggy got 2 successes and rolled a 3 on the spirit die.
Oh, all right. You spent your 2 spirit points?
I did.
All right. So that is 5 damage. This is a massive blow. What does it look like?
So this blow looks like is with him doing the with the trying to stomp and knock it over. So he's like, I tired of this song, and just goes and gouges deep into his calf.
Absolutely.
He didn't think a pyre could move that fast, but she just kind of goes a little whirlwind and just stabs right in.
Absolutely, and he goes down to one knee and just clutches that calf. He looks like he is so close to being down for the count, trying his best. He takes a few attempts to get back up onto his feet, falls back down a few times, eventually is able to get up, but is looking extremely shaky. Conra, you continue on with that lock up on the top, and this last little bit is so frustrating and fiddly, but eventually you feel that satisfying click, and the top portion of the cage pops open, and you can see Shatuhak down below looking pretty relieved at the situation at hand.
I will help her out of there and then sort of look at the whole situation, finally turn around for the first time and see the absolute hog wild shenanigans going on behind me.
I think
people are getting thrown around, weapons are drawn, and just sort of say, maybe you ought to stay in there. It's safer for the time being.
What was that, Nodi?
Just for a moment.
Well, as you turn around and see it, you're seeing all this happen, and then I think you have Nodi, who is on the backswing, going in for another hit on top of the warden's
yes,
head.
I love it.
That's what you're seeing.
I love it. And how does it go?
I have 3 6s,
Holy.
so I think that's pretty good.
So Nodi comes swinging in, just lets out a Banyari war cry, and the jingling of her staff is in perfect harmony with it. As the warden does one final attempt to stand up, manages to kind of stabilize himself, Nodi cracks him across the face. He goes spinning, tumbles forward, drops his hammer off the edge, and he goes tumbling after it over the edge of this.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that!
I imagine Siggy's hand up for the high five, yes, that was good.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I tell the other 2, if you don't want to be like your boss, you better go now.
Oh yeah, that ain't for nothing. In fact, you know what? Why don't you?
I'll spend my fury points to intimidate them.
I was just gonna say, why don't you do a? Yeah, what is the intimidate foe? Is what kind of test? A persuasion test. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
What is
So
what is your will persuasion?
My will persuasion is D8 and 1d6.
Great. Make it 2d6. I will, because you've got something to use to try and get them. All right, and their mental is kind of shitty, so let's see.
Only one success, but I got a 4 on the spirit dice,
Okay,
so I'll make.
It's an open test, so what's your highest number?
Oh, sadly 5.
No, that's okay. Mine was a 2. I rolled 3 1s and a 2 and a 2 on the spirit die. So
that means technically I make one of them, since I got a 4
yes,
on the spirit,
absolutely,
to fall anyway.
That's true. So Yaida sort of tells the two of them, if you don't want to end up like your boss, and the two of them see what's happened down there, see Nodi swinging. We know she looks horrified, but maybe she just from a distance just looks very intimidating. So the two of them turn tail and run, and as one of them starts going, he trips, and there's a well-timed gust of wind that sends him flying off of the platform as well.
Not running fast enough.
The other one redoubles his speed. Clearly, he is the nimbler of the two guards, and he hightails it back to the hub, and you can just make him out in the distance. He way bypasses the guard stations and continues on towards the other edge of the prison. Woo!
Yay!
That was fun. I liked it.
Safe to come out now.
It's safe to come out now, absolutely. It's a little earlier than we usually take our break, but it seems like a really good moment in the narrative to take a quick little break. So go grab water, grab a drink, grab whatever you need. Stay hydrated. We're going to go on a 5-ish minute break. We will be back shortly to find out what happens next now that they've recovered Shatu Hawk. Stick around, folks. We will see you shortly. All right. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and bearing with us. We are back from our break, back into this session of Overlight. If you joined us during the break, you missed some of the excitement. There will be more to come, I have no doubt. But our Skyborn adventurers managed to free Shatuhak, the Banyari sage, from her cage in the hanging prison, and in doing so also vanquished the 3 prison guards that had come after them. 2 of them went falling off down into the empty sky beneath Hark, and one of them fled. He'll probably be okay if slightly, traumatized emotionally after that for some time. But the 4 of you have managed
he's a guard at this horrible prison. Does he
Right?
have any emotions left?
That's a really good point. I'm sure he's done worse to some of his prisoners, so that's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
At
don't
this point,
feel
it's
too
just
bad.
karmic retribution.
Oh, yeah, and then, yeah. So, you have vanquished your foes, you have freed the Banyari, who Conra has helped out of her cage. It's an easy thing now that the locks have been undone to remove the collar and the manacles from her arms and her neck. And as soon as she is sort of free of all of those, this pulsing emerald light sort of begins to shine within her chest, and some of the roots that are part of her symbiotic being that are layered over her chest begin to sort of unfurl and reveal this pulsing green emerald in the center of her chest where her heart is. And this green light cascades and glitters into the air and sort of completely suffuses all of you with a warmth and a calm, and you hear that same voice that many of you have already heard in your head softly say to you all, softly but perfectly clearly despite the wind ripping through this prison, say to you all, "My thanks to you, blessed Skyborn. If you ever wish to become what you are, you must follow me. Take my hand, take each other's hands, and leap from this place of captivity. What are you afraid of? Are you not born of the sky?" And she holds out her hands to Conra and Nodi, who are the 2 closest to her.
I definitely grab on.
So is this like a metaphorical deep dream?
No, this
Do
is
we
where
have
the
vision?
mist rays come in. The mist rays, remember?
I jumped down from where I was, since I was at a second level, onto the same level as
Onto the
everybody.
next platform below.
Yes.
Siggy.
Oh
Siggy.
no! Siggy's just like,
That just got
oh
me.
no, did Yada just yeet herself off the edge?
I wasn't. I did not have the Zoom chat
Yeah.
up, and then I saw it, and it was amazing. Oh.
And
Oh,
knowing exactly what they have on their emerald chest and everything,
Yeah.
immediately goes and without question, like grabs each other's hands.
All right. Siggy.
Connor's having a blue screen of death.
Because I was just like, so like he's like leaning over to the camera. You read books. Does this work? Because I leaves and sing. I don't get it already.
I don't suggest jumping off of Hark. No.
Okay.
I really don't suggest jumping off of Hark, even as a sky. What?
See. So we,
That's the.
Siggy just grabs the hand. It's like, no,
Yep,
I can't. I'm just
No.
not gonna understand it. We're just gonna go.
There is no logical reason why I should do this. Why are you saying that I should jump off of the continent?
I grab Conra's hand.
Oh no!
Not his wrist. Yeah.
Shatu Hawk has her hand extended to you, but hasn't grabbed it because she sees your hesitation, and she says, "You are born to the sky. You have used your Overlight given powers. Is it not possible that there are things in this world that will still surprise you?"
I have used my. I might have done something that could possibly theoretically be described as that, yes, but that does not cover Flying.
Conrad, sometimes you just have to go with it.
I
Just
would
grab
like
the hand,
not
and
to
go
die.
then it will be a fast fall.
What kind of lives do you people
At
live?
least you'll have a beautiful view of Vale.
That's true.
Well, at some point you will fall unconscious because winds, but just do it.
I won't force you, Conrad. If you decide that you cannot take this leap of faith and be born of the sky, that is your choice. But you will live always knowing that there was another option, that there may have been more. Sights
Okay,
unseen.
at that he'll grab the hands, actually.
There it is. There it is. All right. So as you grab Hawk's hand, you feel one more great pulse of that emerald light, and she just steps backwards off of the cage and sort of pulls the circle of you all with her, and you fall, and you fall, and you fall.
Connor's screaming.
And after
Oh yeah.
after that awful, that amazing but also awful, I've never skydove, but scientifically I know that there exists a thing called terminal velocity where it no longer feels like you're falling, which like sounds super cool but also sounds super terrifying. You reach that point, and just as that registers, you all sort of land with a great humph on the back of this what looks like an enormous stingray, but their triangular wing fins are bisected right down the middle, so that they almost look like two sort of articulated fingers that they can grab things with. And just behind the sort of, well, I don't know, head doesn't seem like the right description for this creature, but at the front of the creature, with sort of two ropes that sort of look like some sort of reins, is Faradon Lux.
I sit up and just start laughing maniacally. And just like kind of surprised that this was exactly what Nori kind of predicted, but at the same time just extremely happy and just like enjoying it being a deckhand. So standing, even though I probably shouldn't be standing on this thing, and just like letting the wind and the free air, like, and yeah, like this is like the grandest you guys have seen. Aida.
Absolutely. And well, I'll get to that in a moment, but yes, absolutely. Faradon sort of turns and makes eye contact with you, Siggy, and he tries to yell something at you, but the wind immediately rips his words away. But as he looks at you, he sort of points to you, and he sort of...
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Yeah, okay, that makes sense now.
Of course, Siggy's words also are ripped away in the wind, but
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
seems
So eventually
excited.
she just thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So he sort of tries to call back to you a few more times, but you really can't hear much of anything from him. And you hear a sort of a warm chuckle in your heads as Hawk telepathically once again speaks to you, and she says, Faradon wishes to welcome you to the great circle of Skyborn. However, there is something that I must tell you first. You are in grave danger.
Connor just sort of like looks around like,
Tell me something I don't know.
We will
points
speak...
to the sky.
Yeah. Well, you seem to be okay at the moment. She says, we will speak of it more when we are able to land. But what I have to tell you is extremely important. For now, though, enjoy the flight. Enjoy your victory. Enjoy your companions. Enjoy life. And you all soar. Strictly speaking, you probably take a bit of the scenic route. You don't go necessarily directly back up to Hark, but eventually Faradon sort of guides the mist ray back up and up to Hark. And that's not where we're going to stop tonight, but since we have been sort of showcasing the game and talking a little bit about mechanics and what is available to players and GMs in terms of material, that is the end of the adventure that's published in the core rulebook, that comes with the core rulebook for you, called The Sage of the Hanging Prison. I think that's what it's called. Sure is. The Sage of the Hanging Prison. So that's where that ends, and there are a couple of different things in here about how you can connect this to other campaign ideas and this and this and that. But just to sort of, I want to sort of go through the little epilogue here to sort of give you all an idea for the layout that these published adventures have for how they wrap up. So I'm not going to read some of that because I'm not sure what's going to happen next, so I'm not going to read that point. But there's a little section about the rewards that you all get, which is also important because we haven't talked a ton about character advancement because it is a fairly sort of expensive thing. We mentioned once, way forever ago, that it's an experience point buy system to upgrade your skills and your virtues, to buy new chroma, all of those sorts of things. So each of you have gotten one experience point at the end of each session of play. You'll get another one at the end of tonight, which brings you up to 5, and then a bonus XP for completing the story successfully. So by the end of this, you've got 6 XP that you can hang on to or spend as you like. Each of you will receive a spirit point from the joy of succeeding in your mission and saving Shatu Hawk, and another 2 spirit points for taking this sort of symbolic leap into your lives as Skyborn, and also because it's pretty damn cool to get to fly around Hark on a mist ray. So that's a total of 3 spirit points that you all receive for completing this adventure. Faradon, among all of the other things that he has done and likely will do for you all eventually, he does have some payment for you all, so you can each gain 1 wealth point. And then there are a few options for valuables that you all will receive. So we can talk a little bit about that, but Shatu Hawk, once you all get to ground, will likely present each of you with a valuable, something from her to signify her gratitude, and also, to welcome you to the Order of the Skyborn, which is another thing that we'll talk about in just a minute. But that's sort of how the adventure is laid out in the book. Yeah. Any questions? Because if not, we can hop back into the narrative and see what happens next. But I did want to just showcase that briefly.
Let's take that leap back into the narrative.
All right. So, as I said, you all head back. Oops. Where is my map? Here we go. So you all head back, sort of circling Hark. It's the first time that Conra, you, I think, have actually gotten a chance to see the city from a truly bird's eye view, and to sort of see this enormous shard-wide city laid out below you, and really to take in the true sort of vastness of the city. And you sort of circle ever lower, spiraling down lower and lower to a place just sort of, a little ways south of the Great Market, to a place called the Golden Pool. And the Golden Pool is a sort of fest hall, we'll call it. Lots of eating and drinking and music and merrymaking, and sort of things for every taste and to every on every level are available to folks here. And Faradon sort of tells you as you all dismount from the mist ray that this is a good place for you all to relax and enjoy your victory, but also to speak without having to worry about being overheard. And so he sort of leads you through this labyrinthine complex of rooms and hallways, and eventually finds a sort of empty private room with pillows and cushions laid out all over the floor, slightly hazy from some incense that's burning in the room as well. And he leads you all in there and shuts the door behind him.
Conra lays flat on the ground, face down.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Conrad.
Nodi's finding a cushion and like curling up. Like a fox.
Conrad, still face down, just like very gently reaches out and pets Nodi just a bit. It's like, it's okay.
Siggy like has her like hand on her chin, looking at not Shatu Hawk, the other person.
Faradon.
Like expectantly, like she's waiting for something. Doesn't say what. She's just waiting for something.
I think he just sort of sits down across from you and sort of does the same thing, just sort of looking at you.
Yari is just looking around and just taking it in and contemplating what to do next. Because it's been much longer she's been away from her ship.
Yeah.
Than anticipated.
Yeah, definitely. How long was your ship meant to stay in Hark?
That was dependent on the secret mission she doesn't know about.
Oh, right.
But
right.
at the same
I
time,
forgot about that.
yeah, at the same time, being underground in that tunnel for as long, she should have reported back by this point.
Sure. So it's a
she's
good
kind of
chance
like,
it's still around, but your absence has probably been
I could
noticed.
be in trouble. Yeah.
Right.
So she's debating what to do about that.
Absolutely.
But it's just taking it in and just enjoying, right now.
Yeah, definitely. So after a few minutes, Faradon continues to just sort of stare at Siggy, and
eventually Siggy will like mime like cup to her lips and then put it back down.
Faradon just smiles even broader, but sort of doesn't move. And a few seconds after that, the door opens, and indeed some folks, some servers from the Golden Pool come in with some trays of fruits and meats and cheeses and water and wine for all of you.
Grubs.
There we go.
I'd like some grubs.
Yes, absolutely. And they sort of nod, and one of them leaves while the other sets up what they have so far. And it's not long before he comes back with a choice variety of grubs. Clearly, they are ready for anything here at the Golden Pool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ida immediately goes and eats like she hasn't eaten before, because she was like, rationing out this entire time.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. It's been a while.
Totally understandable.
Yeah, and trying new foods, and in her mind, this might be the last time she gets to try some new foods.
Absolutely. So once you all have sort of had a chance to tuck in a bit, the servers, leave, and Faradon has a word with them, and they sort of nod and shut the door firmly. You get the sense that he asked to not be disturbed. And once you all have had a chance to sort of partake, he turns to you all and says, "Well, quite frankly, I don't have all that much left to say to you other than thank you. I know she can take care of herself." He sort of tosses a glance Hawk's way. "I know she can take care of herself, but I would be lying if I said that I haven't been desperately worried about her since I heard what happened, and most certainly since I sent you all into that horrible place nearly a week ago at this point. So it does my heart good to see you all returned with her in tow. So I thank you. I appreciate your willingness to trust a stranger, and it does my heart good to know that the bond of Skyborn is well and truly alive in the four of you."
Sure. Why was she arrested?
She sort of steps forward and says, "Well, it seems that there was a slight misunderstanding. You see, when I arrived here on Hark, notice of my arrival had been passed to some rather unsavory individuals. The cult of the Unlighters was alerted to my arrival, and when I disembarked my ship, they set upon me. I was able to fend them off on my own, but unfortunately in doing so there was some unfortunate damage done to nearby structures and goods, us being in the docked district. It was unfortunate that the Unlighters fled before the city guard arrived, and so repayment for the damages was set upon my shoulders. I, however, have very little need for material wealth, and the city guard was not interested in accepting some of my amulets and carvings as repayment.
They don't like papercraft either. They're barbarians.
I see you've had some experience, Yaeda. Well, at any
It was
rate...
actually debt.
It was actually what?
It was actually debt.
Oh.
It wasn't a fake charge. It was actually a real charge.
Yeah, so it seems. She says, so I was taken from guard post to guard post, never truly told what exactly the plans were for me, and before I knew it, I found myself in that place that you so generously rescued me from.
This is a bad place.
I was going to say, are you aware of the usual connotations of winding up in there?
I was not, but I bet I could hazard a fairly accurate guess at this point.
It's not normally debtors.
No, from my fellow incarcerees, I gathered that they were there for more than a few outstanding bills.
Pay your taxes on Hark.
My guess is that the unlighters that attacked me in the street near the docks were not the only one involved in all of my difficulties. I can only assume that the unlighters have found their way into certain hierarchies of the city guard, and may have had something to do with my transfer to the hanging prison. That, however, is only a very small piece of the danger that I mentioned to you all as we were leaving that place. What do you know of Skyborn? Of your history, of your natures?
They get famous, their eyes change colors, they make rainbows. I don't know, it depends.
Faradon sort of pipes up and says, some of us get famous rather against our wills.
I'm listening for this. Whatever.
Yaeda, did you have something?
They start to say something and they shut up.
Okay.
Because it's very Vale specific. And
okay.
they're like...
They leave.
Yes. All of this so far has been largely true. You are special. You are blessed by the Overlight and allowed to make use of it. This upsets the Unlighters, for they feel that the Overlight is a sacred and sacrosanct thing that should not be split or manipulated in any way. That is why they hate you, why they take exception to your abilities and your adventures. However, even more than their hatred for the Skyborn is their hatred for ones like me. You, as Skyborn, are different from the people of your homeland. Your virtues, your morals, your outlook on the world differs from that of most of your kin. Your ability to manipulate the Overlight often is reliant upon virtues and colors beyond those of your home shard. As you might have noticed, I am an exception. I am not Skyborn, as you all are. My abilities with the Overlight are limited exclusively to the green light of compassion. And though I have mastered it fully and completely, I am unable to access other virtues, other colors of the Overlight. In some ways, I am even more an aberration than a Skyborn to the Unlighters, because while I show no outward signs, my eyes do not turn silver when my powers manifest, and I am not obviously so different from many of my kin on Banyan, yet I have the ability to master this. And she places her hand over, the roots have closed back up, but over that green emerald heart in her chest.
Yeah, that kind of mirrors that motion.
Not many know of our existence, those of us who are masters or seek to master our home colors, our home virtues. Even among the Unlighters, as far as I can tell, we are not widely known. But there is a sect of them who has become aware of the existence of the 7 of us. For indeed, as far as I have been able to tell, there are only 7 of us, 1 for each color of the light. And this sect of Unlighters have made it their mission to seek us out and destroy us.
Happens when you all get together.
Your question is perhaps more prescient than you know, or maybe it isn't. Maybe you are fully aware of what you ask. It has never been done. Only recently has intershard travel become easy enough for all but the Tyrixians for us to have become truly aware of each other's presence and location. It was our plan to have a conclave of the 7 of us, to see how we might lend our abilities, our knowledge, our wisdom to the Order of the Skyborn, to assist in their mission to bring the world back into peace and balance with the gods who gave us this gift that we so mightily abused. We hadn't yet been able to achieve that goal of uniting, but one can assume that 7 of the most powerful chromatics in the world in one place would be a force to be reckoned with, and one that must be both safeguarded and to some extent feared and taken with caution. I was coming here to Hark to speak with Faradon to discuss his thoughts. I trust him implicitly, and he and I have known each other long enough that we may speak our minds to each other freely. I am unsure of the wisdom of gathering the 7 of us, not opposed to it yet, but unsure of the safety and wisdom of such a conclave. In any event, whether or not the conclave occurs, there are 6 other chromatics like me whose lives are in danger.
So you do know their exact identities.
Yes and no. We are able to communicate with each other much as I am communicating with you now. It is not so much a physical speech, but more a connection of hearts and minds. I have never been in the presence of any of my fellow chromatics, but we have spoken. I know of them. I know them as well as pen pals may know each other, say. But again, my hesitancy to bring together this conclave has also kept me from being in extended contact with any of them.
Do you know what class the one from Vale is?
That is a very good question. GM me does not, so I am doing some scrambling right now to think through all the ramifications of whatever I say.
Because I just realized everyone would have to be from their home shard then.
Yes.
That means going back to Vale.
Yeah, let's see. What class is she? I think she is the chromatic from Vale, as far as I am aware, is one of some nobility. Not perhaps one of your princes, but her house holds some power. At least that is the impression that I got. She is one of the few who has not yet decided to leave her home shard in hopes of hiding from the Unlighters.
If they're of nobility, I'm not surprised.
To be honest, nor am I. Many of the rest of us have left our home shards, hoping to throw the Unlighters off our scent, to hide among to hide in plain sight where we are most easily picked out, but perhaps not for what we are, merely for being of a different folk. It's not a foolproof plan by any means, but we were frightened.
I'll end up on Hark. There's everybody here.
It is a thought. The conclave was almost certainly to take place here on Hark for that exact reason. We wouldn't draw attention gathering like that.
But Hark has the prison such as that. Might not be so safe.
Nowhere's safe.
No, and not knowing exactly how deeply the Unlighters have infiltrated into government here on Hark, it does present a whole new level of concern. But as you say, Conra, nowhere is safe from the Unlighters. From the slaves of Vale to the ember tongues of Pyroi, to the peaceful wooded groves of Banyan, nowhere is safe from Unlighter influence. They can be anyone from any folk of any echelon of society. That is why fear drove us to flee and run, many of us. But it was, we all knew, not a lasting solution.
These people, I do not understand these Unlighters. Everyone has a place. Everyone has a purpose. Perhaps not what they thought it would be. This is not what I thought that would be, but you find yourself. Why rip down others? Fight? Yes. Intrigue? Seems pointless. If they want to come, let them come. But I will not be empty-handed. I will help you.
I thank you. If you are to help me, to protect the other chromatics, to help us find our purpose, whether or not we meet in conclave, or if the road ends at thwarting the Unlighters and protecting the lives of my fellow six chromatics, whatever it is, it will be a long road, and I wouldn't dream of asking you to help. But as you have volunteered, Siggy, and as I am wise enough, despite not being from Zenith, wise enough to not turn down assistance when it comes to find me, I welcome you, and I thank you.
You should stock up on alcohol. Fair warning.
I love you, Siggy.
I'm sure Faradon's like, got it, on it, no problem. So she sort of turns to each of you and says, understand, I have no expectations. I will not be less grateful. I will not be less impressed if you feel that this road is not yours. But I cannot tarry too long. I must return with Faradon to, well, Banyan perhaps, or perhaps to see the chromatics on Zenith, whom I know the best. Anyway, I must move things apace, sooner rather than later. It's a difficult decision, and I don't need it this moment, but I would ask that the other three of you let me know once you've had a chance to think it over, if you would like to join us in in saving the avatars of the Overlight.
There's 3 booths. I just confirmed it. You saw it.
What is the logic in picking me for this?
You managed to trick the architect into having me snap the key. You obviously have some skill.
Some minor skill. I don't know my limits. I don't know what to expect. I have no idea what's going on 85% of the time this entire week.
Alra, if you knew everything, what would be the point in continuing? You will always have something to learn. You can expand your abilities till you realize how marvelous they are. This is adventure before you. Don't you want to learn more?
You literally took a leap of faith. Are you turning back on that now?
Imagine what 7 of them could do.
That's dreadfully terrifying.
Also,
It's
jumping backwards is actually kind of
exhilarating.
hard. You're kind of into this one.
Siggy.
I'm not like you. I've never left,
I never left until now.
but you did it.
And I'm old. Look at you. You're young. You're a strapping young lad.
The
You can
difference
do
is
that.
you're not alone.
Together we make a rainbow.
Oy. Wait.
Captain Planet.
Yay!
Wait, same though.
Yes.
Oh no, I wish I had one. I don't.
I'll need to put some things in order.
Shatuhak smiles and she says, for what it's worth, I have known Skyborn who have resisted the call inside them to leave, which you will eventually feel, but I have no doubt that one such as yourself would have every capability of resisting it, if that's really what you wanted.
It's not that-
Go.
No, you continue.
No, just I believe that beyond your instincts, beyond whatever it is inside Skyborn that gives them the wanderlust to leave their shards, in the small time that I have known you and what Faradon has told me of you, you will always wonder at the things you could have seen. And if your demonstrations of your abilities with the Overlight so far are any indication, you'll also always wonder what else you might have accomplished. This isn't goodbye from your homeland forever. But I think the pull to learn more will drive you.
I already said I was coming.
You have to speak it louder.
I already said I was coming.
I don't think Ziggy can hear you over their drink.
Over their drink?
Look, Conrad grabs a drink.
There you go.
See,
There you go. There you go. Well, that settles that then. And it sounds to me that Nodi and Yaira, you two wish to join us as well.
I have one request.
Of course.
I don't want to kill ever again.
You met the right chromatic first for that request. My goal in all of this is to protect the lives of my fellow chromatics. Had I been quicker to react in that place, I may have been able to keep the unfortunate events from unfolding as they did. I am not from Zenith. and wisdom is not my core virtue, but I am wise enough to know that I cannot promise you that. But what I can promise you is that my goals and the means by which I will attempt to achieve those goals will always have peace and nonviolence at their heart. Compassion is a difficult virtue when one is under attack.
Hayden nods like, yes.
In that moment, there are so many things that one must weigh. Is compassion enough? Can I speak to the heart of those who wish me harm and turn them aside from the path that they are currently on? If I don't or can't, what will they do to me? Is allowing that to happen more important than avoiding violence? Am I willing to...
Well, I don't mind knocking them on the head. I just, unconscious.
If it makes you feel better, I'm pretty sure it's the grounds that killed him.
It might have been
I stabbed him a
wind.
lot first.
I don't think we're making Nodi feel better.
I go up to Nodi and say, I completely understand the feeling you're having about that, Nodi. You didn't mean to, and it was just the circumstances. But I think between Siggy and I, if anything else comes up, you won't have to be the one to make that choice. Obviously, only if we are forced in a corner. You just keep inspiring us.
Ways.
Yes. You helped me a lot up there when I had 2 against me.
That was a good speech.
Yes.
It must have looked impressive.
Oh, it really did, Nodi.
Did? I don't like
Okay. And I eat some grubs.
But yeah, Yaida turns to her, to Shatuhak, and I do believe in your cause. So I say I don't think I have any other choice but to do this at this point.
I would never want any of you to participate in this against your wills, but I know what you mean, Yaida. Yours has been a hard road. I don't know the details, but I can feel that much in your heart. You are welcome with us. I'm glad to have the 4 of you. Overlight knows conversation with this one can get rather tiresome. She smiles wide as Faradon sort of turns around with the thing of cheese in one hand and a goblet of wine in the other, and sort of looks, shrugs, and goes back to eating.
I like him. I can get along with him. He gets it. He gets me.
I'll take the cheese.
And so Shatuhak says, well, in that case, I think our next stop should probably either be Banyan or Zenith. If we are to return to Banyan, I can introduce you, Faradon actually, more than I, can introduce you to some of the other Skyborn that are a part of his order that reside on Banyan. Perhaps they may be able to assist us in some small part of this, though I hesitate to let too many in on the secret, as it were. The fewer, the better, the less likely that an unlighter will overhear of our plans. Or we can go directly to Zenith, where we can attempt to find my Hamanu compatriot, who is the chromatic for the purple light of wisdom.
Go to Banyan, I can show you my hearth tree.
I have never... you are a Verthod?
Yeah, Berthod Leafkin.
I've never been to the Verthod Hearth Tree in all my years. Perhaps it is time for a visit. What say the rest
leaning
Either choice
down,
is not
way down to
fail,
Nodi.
so I'm good.
They have liquors, there, right?
of you? God.
Yes, they have a great banana leaf dew wine.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That sounds so
Sounds tropical.
delightful.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I am in.
Know if I'm ready to meet more Skyborn already. I'm already
We have
a little
the
overwhelmed.
journey there.
Uh,
And the Banyari are wonderful.
I mean, if they're as cute as these two.
I mean, maybe yes, if they are all little 2-foot-tall fuzzy creatures.
Vary. But we're... well, we do vary. So, see, some of us... See, my tribe doesn't normally have succulents. But, see, on my mother's side, there was a Verthod root lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, you know what, there's... No, not Verthod Luth... I forget which one. They're a different tribe. They're fine. Anyway, they're from there. That's why I have the succulent. But then there's other who are like Shatu Hawk here, who have glorious roots and leaves. But others don't have them at all. Some just have hair on their shoulders. We're a varied people.
Aha.
Yes.
But we're short.
All that.
I love it.
At least
Well,
we'll
you
have some
can't
people
have everything.
taller than. I go to Conrad, like,
Thank you.
but I am good for either, because either is Vale, and I would like to go to Vale as last as possible. Or if we can convince that particular person to leave Vale, even better.
As that reminds you, do we need to intimidate, break kneecap? What do we need to do to fix your situation? I'm curious.
Right, there is that.
Hopefully
Well,
not another time.
I'm not
That was
sure.
all.
I'm not sure if my ship is still here. I'm not anyone of importance, so if they've left, they've left. I'm just a deckhand after all.
Right.
And I take a very long sip of ale.
Deckhand.
And I just keep drinking.
Also, we'll go.
So it sounds like Banyan is the vote.
Yeah, it seems like we're going to Bonnie.
Great.
Yeah.
And you all can have time to sort of settle affairs here as much as you do want to or don't want to. I'm looking at you, Yaida.
I would probably ask either between Siggy or Conrad ask for help in getting a messenger over there to see if the ship is even there still.
Sure.
If the ship is gone, I am fine.
Sure.
Then it's just a matter of finding clothes and
That's
stuff.
not my
'cause-
job. Like my actual job.
That's true. That's literally Ziggy's.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, we kind of skipped right to the whole existential discussion without the whole like, so what do you do for a living first?
Right?
It's true, and it all started with Crane. So we it's been interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, if not informative.
Right. I mean, technically, we don't even know what Conrad does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we
Just
all
being
talked about all
close.
manner of weird stuff on the long
That's true. You all had a week
That's
to get to
true.
know each other.
That's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spaceships. Ooh.
All right. So you all will journey to Banyan once things are settled here, and there will begin the next leg of your journey. As you all sort of continue your, you can spend the rest of the afternoon or evening or whatever it is at the Golden Pools, sort of having your dinner and enjoying a bit of downtime before this grand journey starts. We sort of we cut back over to the hanging prison while you all are still at the Golden Pools, and we see near the hub, we see one of the guard rooms sort of has this little chamber off to one side, and we see a sort of mechanical lift descend down into this room, and the doors open up, and Matrix in Vico comes storming out of the lift and into the guard room. And we see him just absolutely berating another superior officer looking guard there in the prison, and he, you see the other warden lieutenant sort of taking his knocks for his failure, and just as the Matrix is sort of wrapping up his tirade, the door swings open behind him, and that third guard, the one who escaped, comes in, and Matrix and Vico turns to him, and the guard makes a sort of strange symbol with his hand, sort of looks like an eye on his forehead and his other hand sort of crossing it, and he nods to the Matrix and just says a simple phrase: "They know." And we fade out from there, and that's where this week's session ends. We're a little ahead of schedule, but we've made some decisions, we've gotten to some places, and I think it's a decent spot to end for the night. So I thank you all so much for playing. What an awesome sort of little run of role-playing there to sort of find out more about your characters and your relationships. I'm loving all of this. Thank you to all of you who hung out with us and watched tonight. It was an exciting conclusion to that battle, and finally getting Shatu Hawk back and finding a little bit more about the world. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Let's go around and once again do our little outros. Let us know who you are, who you played, where we can find you on the interwebs, and one of your favored moments from this evening's session. We'll go in... Oh, I don't remember what order we went in. I think we went in this order, so we're going to go in reverse order, and I think that means we start with Diana?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I'm Diana Moon. I use she, her pronouns. I played Yaida, the mysterious Autumnal Veil, who I keep hinting at things. And you can find me on Twitter as Diana Moon, or on YouTube and Twitch here as XDianaMoonX. And I think, yeah, that's it for now.
Perfect.
Oh, favorite moment.
Yes, yes.
It has to be Nodi just being like a freaking badass and being, and whacking. Like, that was just so beautiful.
Yes, hard.
I
agree.
had that planned from last time.
Yes.
That's what I had
Nice.
written down to remind myself.
I love
I'm
it.
so glad that the dice allowed it to happen just as is.
Yes, I love it. Alicia.
Hey, I'm Alicia, NNG9 on where I Twitch and I do the games, and I'm on other people's streams where I do the other characters. My favorite moment is also a Nodi moment, but not that one. My favorite moment is the speech, like, "You've got to 5, mister, to put that iron hammer down." That's my favorite.
This is pretty good. Also really good. I love it. Well, let's go over to Nodi then, Victoria.
Ooh, well, I'm Victoria. I played Nodi, our Benyari Verthod Leafkin. She doesn't really do much except for live a very, very simple life, and she is on an adventure. You can find me at Mimi Merlot on Twitter or at the Broadswords. And my favorite moment. Oh, geez. There are so many delightful moments. And I think it was when Siggy was talking back to the warden. It was very good.
Yes, indeed. Last but most certainly not least, Nat.
Hello, I'm Nat Rose. You can find me on Twitter at Nat Rose. I played Conra, who is deeply stressed about the sheer abstract concept of leaving Hark for a variety of reasons that he's not going to tell anybody.
Sure.
And a favored moment of mine was honestly every single time that GM you describe the like tangible light of compassion coming from Chatuhak is so
really good. That was really good.
Like visceral, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, totally.
Like palpable.
Yeah, thanks. There's some cool like little threads that they gave me to sort of play with about her that are super cool. Awesome. Well, once again, I'm Eugenio. You can find me on the Twitters at @DMJazzyHands. You can also find my actual play podcast, The Last Refuge, on the Twitters at @DNDLastRefuge. I am in either of those two places, so check me out there. Before I get to my favorite moment, few things, housekeeping things for the channel. Thank you so much for hanging out here on Variant Roles. You should follow us on Twitter as well at Variant Roles. And if you haven't already, follow the channel here. We're at 988 followers. We have 12 to go before we reach 1,000, which I want to do before the end of the year. We're so close. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it. We have a ton of stuff every week here on the channel, and you'll get notified whenever we go live if you follow us. So you can do that. Also, if you are willing and able, and we understand that not everybody is, and that's okay, we appreciate your presence here in the stream, in the chat, on Twitter, but if you are able to and would like to go the extra mile, we do also have a Patreon for the channel. You can go to patreon.com/variantroles, support us there, or of course, subscriptions here on Twitch are also very helpful. We appreciate you. Tomorrow, our next live show that we're going to be doing here is going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. It's our next episode of Nerd Out. Kiana Crit Charisma on... Crit Charisma on the Twitters, interviews a bunch of different people about something that they are nerdy and passionate about, and tomorrow's episode is me. I had a chat with her at Gen Con this past year about musical theater, the other part of my life. So check out that interview at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific tomorrow here on Variant Roles. A favored moment of mine from tonight was that whole conversation where you all were trying to convince Conrad to come and tell him that it was going to be okay. It was just really beautiful.
Especially the part where it kept going even after he said
yes. Yes. I also really liked the conversation about Nodi not wanting to kill anything again. I was going off in some direction that Nodi didn't need Chatuhak to go, and I really loved Siggy and Yaida like stepping in to sort of clarify the situation and reassure her in their own way. It was really lovely role playing you all, so I appreciate you. Thank you. Cool. We will be back. Next Monday will be our last session for this season, this cycle. Who knows what the future may hold? We all still have to figure that out. But for now, this will be our last session of the cycle next Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, same as always. And I'll be sure and we'll sort of get the word out about exactly what that session is going to look like so that you all can come in prepared to enjoy whatever it is we're going to have for you. I'm saying all that because I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out, and it's going to be delightful, and I'm excited about it. Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching. We appreciate all of you. We will see you here next week, and hopefully you're in and around the channel before then. Have a lovely night, stay hydrated, and happy gaming, y'all. Have a good night.
Y'all come back now, you hear?